Some places are abandoned for a reason. Blackwater Farm had stood empty for generations, hidden behind rusted gates and surrounded by stories no one wanted to repeat. Photographer Ethan Mercer arrived with his assistant Maya Collins, convinced every legend could be explained. Their guide, local historian Daniel Reeves, warned them that people who entered the farmhouse often claimed to hear voices calling from empty rooms. Deep beneath the rotting floorboards, they uncovered an old wooden box filled with damaged photographs. Every face had been scratched away except for one young girl staring directly into the camera. On the back of her photograph was a warning that should never have been ignored. Ethan took the box anyway, believing it was nothing more than another forgotten relic. As they walked away, every sound in the surrounding wood suddenly disappeared. The nightmare didn't begin with screams. It started with silence. Back inside Ethan's apartment, small objects shifted without explanation, while the mysterious wooden box somehow changed locations on its own. Maya reviewed the footage they had recorded inside the farmhouse and froze in disbelief. Hidden between the frames stood a pale woman who had never been there during filming. Daniel searched through forgotten church records and uncovered a disturbing pattern. For over a century, anyone connected to a carved wooden box had vanished without leaving behind a single trace. That same night, Ethan awoke to 3 slow knocks coming from inside the walls of his bedroom. When the security cameras finally came back online, the box was waiting at the foot of his bed. Determined to uncover the truth, the group returned to Blackwater Farm searching for answers buried inside its collapsing walls. Hidden behind an old fireplace, Maya discovered a weathered journal written by the farmhouse's final owner. Every page described a stranger who carried a cursed wooden box capable of attaching itself to anyone driven by curiosity. The journal claimed the box didn't simply haunt people. It chose them. The final entry revealed a terrifying detail. The curse always targeted those who refused to believe the impossible. Before anyone could process the warning, a heavy door slammed upstairs. Then, echoing through the abandoned house, came the unmistakable laughter of a child where no child could possibly exist. Ignoring every warning, Ethan followed the sound upstairs. Dust covered every floorboard, yet fresh footprints appeared one step at a time without anyone leaving them. Maya raised her camera and captured something no explanation could justify. Every shadow inside the hallway pointed in the wrong direction, and one shadow existed without belonging to anyone at all. Moments later, Ethan discovered an old photograph that should never have existed. It showed Ethan, Maya, and Daniel standing outside Blackwater Farm decades before any of them had been born. Standing quietly behind them was the same pale woman seen in every unexplained image, smiling as though she had been waiting for them all along. Their investigation attracted retired police officer Harold Benson, a man carrying secrets of his own. Years earlier he had investigated disappearances connected to Blackwater Farm but buried the case after every witness described the same impossible woman and the same carved wooden box. As Harold carefully examined the object, strange symbols slowly carved themselves into the wood before everyone's eyes. No one touched it. No one moved. Later that night Harold disappeared from his locked motel room. The only thing left behind was his voice recorder repeating a horrifying sentence over and over. She says the photographs are counting us. Searching Harold's room only deepened the mystery. Photographs covered the floor, each one showing places the group had recently visited. But with every new photograph, one more person disappeared from the image. The oldest picture showed all four investigators together. The newest showed only Ethan standing alone outside Blackwater Farm while the pale woman rested her hand upon his shoulder. Daniel finally translated the strange carvings covering the box. They didn't describe death. They described replacement. The curse didn't kill its victims. It erased them so completely that even those closest to them slowly forgot they had ever existed. Believing the nightmare could only end where it had begun, Ethan, Maya, and Daniel carried the wooden box back to Blackwater Farm. Inside, they found candles burning in rooms that had been abandoned for decades. Every wall was covered with family photographs, each one hiding the same pale woman somewhere in the background. As Daniel placed the box beneath the original floorboards, the entire house shook violently before falling into complete silence. For the first time since opening the box, the overwhelming feeling of being watched disappeared. Convinced the curse had finally ended, the 3 survivors left the farmhouse without looking back. Months later, Ethan attempted to finish documenting everything they had experienced. But pieces of the investigation had vanished. Footage was missing. Public records had disappeared. Even memories of Harold Benson became strangely impossible to recall. Then one final envelope arrived without a return address. Inside was a photograph of Ethan sitting alone while editing his documentary. Standing directly behind him was the pale woman, clearer than ever before. Written across the back was the same warning found inside the wooden box. The story ends only when someone else believes it. Some say these forgotten events inspired famous horror movies. Others believe the real horror is that the curse is still searching for its next witness, and simply hearing this story may have brought it one step closer.